Good evening. I'd like to call to order the May meeting of the Monroe County Public Library Board of Trustees. We're going to begin the evening by going around and introducing ourselves and sharing a book that we're reading or a game we're playing or something that you would like to share before we start. Chris, why don't we start with you?
I will. I'm actually finished with a book, so I have to go up and find a new one. But it was The Devil in the White City, where it was the Chicago World's Fair back in the 1890s, and quite interesting. So would recommend it.
I'm Kari Essery, and I can remember my name, but I can't remember the book I'm reading right now. Sorry. It just whoosh.
I'm reading Glue. I think the author's last name is Pham. It's a business and project management leadership book.
I'm Greer Carson. I am reading Why Honor Matters by Tamler Summers, and my family and I are playing Princess Peach Showtime on the Switch.
I'm Chris Harrison, and I am currently reading Night Wars by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley, I think, or Bradley Brubaker. I can't remember which way her names go, but okay.
Nichelle Wash reading All About Love by Bell Hooks.
I'm Amy O'Shaughnessy, and I'm reading Family, Family by Lori Frankel.
We're going to begin this evening with our consent agenda items. And so to begin with, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda items, which include the minutes of our April board meeting, the monthly financial report, monthly bills for payment, personnel report, and the board meeting calendar. Okay, do we have a second? Okay, and I think Greer wanted to bring up a couple of points.
Yeah, I have just two quick points on the consent agenda. The first is actually about the confidential payroll report you all received via email. For the second of our 2 April pay periods, it shows a split between special revenue payroll for CATS and Friends of the Library staff and operational payroll for all other employees. And we did this intentionally, separating operating from special revenue because it better aligns with our internal payroll reporting practices. Also provides a little more clarity as to where compensation funds come from for all library staff. So we hope this is helpful for you, but of course we're happy to discuss it and consider an alternative approach if it's preferable. The second item is a clarification from the April board meeting presentation on programming and community partners. So the verbiage during the presentation last month and what is reflected in the minutes from that meeting are to the effect that Mother Hubbard's Cupboard, also sometimes partnering with People's Cooperative Market, did a hyper-local series using local food to cook. We would like to clarify this. The People's Cooperative Market has coordinated a weekly hyper-local series, providing both the presenters, the expertise, and the local produce at the Southwest Teaching Kitchen. Mother Hubbard's Cupboard has hosted a monthly program using produce provided by the People's Cooperative Market and has continued these programs at their facility during the Southwest branch closure. So this section of the April meeting minutes is highlighted in red, and we can leave it as is since that's an accurate reflection of what was presented during that meeting. And then we'll include this spoken clarification in writing as part of the May board meeting minutes. But for the sake of transparency and in honor of our community partnerships, we wanted to clarify that piece from last month's meeting.
Are there any other questions or comments about the consent agenda items?
I was just curious, in all our financials, it talks about, this kind of supply and that kind of supply, and then when you look at the bills, we have lots of checks written to Menards and Amazon and stuff. Does each department get a budget of how much they can spend, like, for certain things?
Yes.
Okay.
That's usually specific to programming. Okay. So if it's a public services department, they'll have a programming budget, which largely comes from our Friends of the Library gift every year, and they'll make Amazon purchases and things like that. A lot of the things you see from, say, Menards would be done through our Building Services and Security Department for supplies for facilities purposes. Okay. That's usually what those things are.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Clarify that, just a reminder to everybody that the June board meeting will be a week later next month, and it will be held at Ellettsville. So we all show up in the right place and at the right time. So, okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda items signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next, we're going to move on to the director's monthly report.
Okay, some highlights. You may have noticed a bump in our program statistics for April. While we did offer more programs than usual in April, the increase may also be due to the fact that last month was our first month using Communico, which is our new program management platform. In the past, we had to use 3 different platforms to submit and review programs, get them on the public calendar, and then report on their attendance. And so as we've transitioned to the new one-stop shop platform, it's possible there's been a change in the way program data is being reported. Or it could be that all of this now happens in one place, and so we're finding that our data is more accurate and reflective of the work that we're doing with regard to program attendance. Either way, we're looking into this as part of our early day review of Communico, and we'll confirm with our May and June program reporting. We are letting go of Cloud Library, one of our ebook subscription services we've had for about 10 years. Though some patrons have made good use of this service, its overall use is significantly less than that of Overdrive, which is also known as Indiana Digital Media and accessed via the Libby app, and of course Hoopla. So as always with these e-library resources, we have to balance our efforts to diversify access points to content like ebooks with our overall collection budget. Quarter 1 of 24 saw a 13% increase in Vital Learner engagement over Quarter 4 of 2023. That's 84 individual learners utilizing our one-to-one support model and 56 individual learners attending English language group sessions. Vital has a very strong word-of-mouth growth and awareness, which accounts for much of its continued growth. And our communications and marketing team recently produced a great video overview of Vital, which no doubt contributes to the increased interest in our unique adult learner service. I would like to highlight the great work that our Circulation Services Department is doing, both in shifting and integrating large collections for better access on the shelves, and in maintaining a 48-hour cart-to-shelf turnaround for all returned items. That takes focused shelving and coordinated scheduling, and that team is doing a great job at both. We partnered with Wonder Lab and Astronomers Without Borders to be a collection site for recycling eclipse glasses and wound up collecting an estimated 10,000. CATS is working with our friends at the Buskirk Chumley Theater on turning a long-form podcast program on 20th century African American voices from Monroe County into a video series called The Balcony, and we are looking forward to that. And as always, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Video made about Vital, which I've known of Vital for, well, since the 1980s, but is that being shared with any other partners around the community? That I'm trying to think, like Broadview, what is that, Broadview Adult Learning Center, or some of the Hispanic groups that work together.
I'm not sure of our specific promotion with that video other than our usual means of posting, but I can find out and see if we've reached out to any of our partners with that video specifically.
It's such a marvelous service, and the people do fantastic work.
The Library of Things. I appreciated the mention of what were some of the most, or that the iPads are really desirable, but I was curious, what are some of the other most popular items or the most requested items, if you could elaborate on that?
Wireless hotspots are extremely popular and have been for a very long time, and are usually always off the shelf like the iPads are. I don't know what the next most popular things collections are. I mean, we have things like the baking kits and some tabletop game and RPG kits. But the iPads and the hotspots are certainly the most popular. But I can take a look at the Circ stats for those things. In fact, we're going to be talking about that at our leadership team meeting tomorrow, because we're, as Lisa referenced in the report, going to take a very strategic approach to growing that collection. We've kind of done a let's throw things at the wall and see what sticks approach so far, which has been great. But now we're to the point where we need to be very budget conscious about it, and also very intentional about how it responds to community needs. And that always starts with looking at circulation. So we'll take a look.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to add, last year they had even passes to state parks in a hiking.
Yeah, we haven't been able to continue that, unfortunately, but it was a nice partnership with the DNR that allowed us to do that, and it was actually part of, we had backpacks It came from the innovation grant that we do. The idea to have hiking backpacks that came with state park passes. And since then, I think that thing has kind of gone away, but we never know. That might come back as well. That was kind of a cool one. Yeah.
Any more questions or comments for Greer? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to old business. This isn't an action item, but Greer is going to give us an update on the Southwest Branch closure.
I am fairly confident this is the last update I will share without a reopening date. We are very, very close. So all of the main area luxury vinyl tile flooring has been installed. We actually have put a new LVT strip just outside of the study rooms where it used to be carpet. We noticed that when people come in and out of the study rooms, you get a little fraying on the carpet threshold. And actually, Brian Leibacher, who's here tonight, along with our contractor, both had the idea that why don't we do LVT strips right outside that as well? It might even look better, but it's certainly going to hold up to traffic better. And that wound up being a really good idea. So all of that is actually done. The Teens Place flooring is also completed. I reported last month that all of the painting and the drywall and insulation, all that work had been done. The large meeting room flooring is on order and arriving soon. It'll go in pretty quickly. It's one big, large space, so it doesn't take a lot of time to install that. The children's flooring has presented some challenges because the original carpet, of which 30 to 40% was damaged, we can't get. So we can't match the dye lot with the carpet that survived the incident. So we're going to have to change out all of the carpet in that space. It'll be almost exactly the same, very, very similar pattern, very similar to what we have in the adult area, just a little bit brighter with a little bit more color. That order was placed this week. Should be in relatively quickly, but that's a huge part of our reopening timeline, is making sure that the children's space is complete. The children's program room flooring is in a similar situation. It's a very particular type of flooring. It has a lot of give to it. It's great for wear and tear and a lot of spills. We're going to have the same flooring, but it's going to be a different color because the original color is no longer available, which should be fine. We're still going to color coordinate in that room. So that flooring is on order. The HVAC mechanicals arrive, we hope, next week so that that work can begin. Speaking of that, the insurance subrogation meeting, which was scheduled for April 23rd, did occur on that date. It was specific to the HVAC system failure, and consideration of how this will fit within the final insurance claim is kind of where we are. So we are waiting for that final insurance claim in writing, but we did have the go-ahead to order the replacement parts for the HVAC system. We are hoping to announce our reopening date next week, along with pictures of the progress that's been made, which is pretty significant. So we'll share that with staff and then give you all a heads up and then make our big public announcement. But I'm thinking we're going to be able to say that next week.
What, you said it was HI system failure? What did? HVAC, okay. Okay, thank you. I was going to ask what HI was, but.
Our climate control system with the mechanicals on the roof, yep.
Anything as far as the HVAC in the future? Okay.
Whatever guarantee means from
This is
a process like this, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else about Southwest? Okay, well, we're excited to hear that we are getting close to a reopening date. Okay, next for new business, we have a couple action items. The first one is about some surplus items, which it looks like we've added a little bit more than just the Legacy Sprinter van to it. So do we have a motion to approve the disposal of some surplus items?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and Gary's going to explain what we are surplusing.
Yes, I put an updated copy of the resolution at your desk because we had an update since the packet was done. So what we have that we want to surplus is a 2004 Dodge Sprinter van that was, well, it's just getting to the point where it's hard to keep investing money in repairs, and So for that reason, we want to surplus it. We plan to sell it, and then the other items on here are all from, it's some old CATS equipment, and so they are going to get rid of, usually when we get rid of technology equipment, we have a service that comes, picks it, they come pick it up and do the recycling and all the environmental stuff that needs to be done with it. So that's the plan for that equipment. Can I answer any questions?
That equipment or just getting rid of?
Just getting rid of it.
That big drop off at some point during the summer, so I didn't know if it's not this, you're having somebody actually come rather than just taking it to those.
Yes, yes.
It's nice.
There are some pictures of the old Sprinter van at the desk for you all. I'm guessing some of you have never really seen that thing. It's been in hiding out at the Ellettsville parking lot for quite a while. So it is now at the mechanics awaiting a sale sign.
To what you mean when you say it's going to be surplus? Like, is there a difference between that and the library figuring out how to sell this? I'm just curious if you can give us an overview of that process.
That terminology, I guess, is sort of related to the requirement that whenever we have old equipment that we need to get rid of, we have to do it on a resolution. And that surplus is just the term they kind of use related to these kinds of resolutions. But it's really just the fact that to keep clutter out of the building, you know, occasionally we just got to get rid of stuff. And like this is a good example of this old CATS equipment. It's just gets so old that we're not using it and just need to get it out of here.
Will the library employ someone to sell the van? Like, how does, I'm just curious what that process looks like.
Well, so we work with Carmichael Truck Service. They work on our bookmobile, but really most of our vehicles. And we are working with them. The van is there right now. And so they have a lot of traffic coming in, people, you know, that work with those kinds of vehicles. And so they're going to help us out with that.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? If not, I will start this resolution around for you to sign.
Seeing no other questions or comments, do we have all those in favor of approving the surplusing of the items that were mentioned, the Mac towers, the hard drive, and the van? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Okay. Next, do we have a motion to approve the transfer of funds to the Library Improvement Reserve Fund, better known as the LIRF Fund? Okay, and Gary's going to explain that as well.
So right now we have $53,750 in the restricted gift fund. We received that from the Friends of the Library, and the Friends of the Library received that from a donor who has pledged funds for the construction of the amphitheater at Southwest. We have paid for the construction of the amphitheater, and now as these 4 pledge payments come in this was the first one, and for 3 more years we'll get a pledge like this. And so when we get it, we receive it into the restricted gift fund, and then from there we have to transfer it to the LIRF fund to more or less pay it back. So that's what's going on here. Any questions?
Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the transfer to the LIRF Fund signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next, we're going to be looking at a policy proposal for a paid parental leave. And so do we have a motion to approve the policy proposal for paid parental leave? Okay. And we will have Becky come forward, and Becky Throckmorton, and explain the policy for us.
So I won't read this to you word for word because it's kind of a lengthy policy. Essentially, we currently do not have a paid parental policy. It's something that a lot of employers, including the city of Bloomington, have done just sort of as we're continuing to improve benefits for staff. Paid parental leave offers new parents, so it doesn't necessarily have to be the one who had the child, 6 weeks off of paid time to be home with that new child. The way that we've written this, it would include the birth of a child, surrogacy, or adoption to meet any of those needs that we might have from family structure across our library. The leave would be used in conjunction with FMLA. So FMLA currently gives people 12 weeks of time off for something like this. They would get 6 weeks of paid leave that they could use, and then they could also use that in conjunction with short-term disability if they had that and they were the person who delivered the baby, or they could use it in conjunction with their paid and sick leave to potentially have a full 12 weeks of paid time to be home with the new baby. We did specify that you do have to be here at the library for a full year before you're eligible for it, and that the leave does need to be used within the first 90 days of the baby's birth or adoption into the family.
Suggest with, depending on the birth. If it's a normal birth, 6 weeks. Otherwise, it could be 8 weeks.
So that's the short-term disability benefit.
Okay.
And the way our short-term disability works, and the way the policy is written, if someone was to have a longer short-term disability benefit, then they still get 6 weeks of 100% of their pay, and we just would basically prorate what we pay if they have a longer short-term disability that's approved that way. Great question.
For other libraries. One thing that I had a question about was whether foster care placement was included in here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to speak to like what went into the decision making to not have that be included here.
Yeah, so we did consider foster care, and that's an excellent question. Something that we talked about pretty extensively, what we wanted to include in this. We did not include foster care because there's such a wide array of foster situations, and so this was truly to be parental leave for a family unit, and so foster care can kind of come and go. There's several different ways that looks. That is currently covered under FMLA, and so there are some protections there, and so we didn't include necessarily foster care specifically, but it would work for adoption. So if someone was to adopt a child,
those children, even though they're an older age. Oh, good.
Any other questions or comments for Becky? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the paid parental leave policy signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Okay, thank you, Becky. Okay. All right, and next we're up to the department updates. So we're going to hear from our building and services and security team, and that's Brian Liebacher.
Thank you. So some of you have seen me in years past, but for those of you that haven't, I'll give a quick overview of what building services and security is. So it consists of three main departments, which is maintenance, custodial, and security. And when we talk about maintenance, we're mainly talking about the building envelope itself and the grounds that it's on, heating and cooling systems, plumbing, lighting and electrical systems, library vehicles, and then, like I said, the repairs to the building itself and then many of the contents therein. Custodial responsibilities mainly include the cleaning of the interior of the building, emptying trash, processing recycling, processing daily facility requests that might come in, grounds cleanup, including items left behind on sidewalks, parking lots, and the grounds, and then emptying exterior trash as well. Custodians are also usually the ones that run the daily route between our buildings. And so the daily route then is usually, it's like 10 to 20 boxes or crates of books and movies and CDs, physical things that we're moving between the buildings to help circulate those items, whether they're on hold or items have been returned from one building and maybe they're housed in another building, so on and so forth. So we have those 10 to 20 crates a day, as well as interdepartmental mail, office supplies, and things like that. Security job duties usually include the enforcing of our behavior policy, oversight of our camera and door security systems, opening and closing the building to the public each day, assisting with unloading patron donations, assisting with multiple deliveries each day, and ensuring that they're located and routed to the appropriate departments they're within. So the staff that do all of these things, there's, not including myself, there's 22 employees with six different job descriptions within building services. So some of these different jobs then are, there's one building services assistant manager who assists in the big picture coordination and day-to-day oversight of these three departments. One maintenance expert who maintains the physical integrity and safety of the library's facilities and equipment. One maintenance technician who performs routine maintenance and grounds work. 8 security technicians, bless you, 8 security technicians who are, again, mainly tasked with the physical security and enforcing library behavior rules. 1 security lead who is tasked with coaching and training security technicians. 10 custodians who are responsible for the daily cleaning and providing clean and welcoming grounds for facilities and staff patrons. So looking back at kind of the past 12 months since I was last here, some of the feathers that we want to maybe highlight here or stick in our cap. We completed the downtown solar array, so we have a solar array now on the roof. And again, while we weren't expecting to get a large savings on our electric bill, again, it was only about 1%. Every little bit there helps and is a savings to our constituents. We've implemented 2 rounds of new teen furniture here at the downtown teen library. We hired and implemented a new position, which is the security lead position, which I mentioned earlier. We're in the process right now of replacing several electrical floor outlets throughout the downtown building. We oversaw the repair of the downtown building's small garage door. Myself and one of the other managers here on site, we have co-led a new canine bed bug service that does routine checks of all of our buildings and areas. We assisted the Circulation Services Department in achieving their goal of moving where our holds and our new arrivals are. We assisted the Downtown Children's Department to achieve their goals of expanding the children's garden area. And we also assisted the Adult Services Department meet their goal of revamping the seed library distribution and donation process. So when I was here about a year ago presenting, we were just a few weeks out at that point in time from opening the Southwest branch. And so between the time that the branch opened and then subsequently had to close again in January of this year, some of the things that we did in the interim there for those months, we completed grounds work, including mowing, weeding, and then replacing some trees and plants around the building. Hanging several large TVs and whiteboards throughout the building, hiring and training new custodians and security staff. And then since, I will be kind of reiterating a lot of what Greer has kind of already said here today, but since the closing of the building since January 15th, some of the things that we've helped out with there, again, we completed the water extraction of standing water in approximately 1/3 of the building. Worked with the remediation company to remove flooring, complete flood cuts of the drywall, remove insulation, disassemble shelves, remove ceiling tiles in the garage, and move lots and lots of furniture around. So after the remediation process was complete, we've assisted the restoration contractor and subcontractors, as well as other MCL departments, do a few things such as removal and storing of electronics throughout the building. Again, some of those large TVs, computers, and other electronic equipment. Again, a lot of furniture, program supplies, and things like that, and again, the materials that can be checked out to patrons as well. One of the more arduous tasks on this that, again, Greer mentioned, and luckily he and I were the only ones really subjected to this, what was the subrogation process. And again, this included us working with our insurance company, their attorneys, and the forensic engineers that they in turn hired, and then working with the general contractor all the way down through all of their subcontractors and all of their insurance companies to try to complete a thorough on-site investigation of the scene, the equipment, and the sequence of operations that may have led to that incident and then the loss. Thus far, the restoration contractor has completed again replacing the insulation, hanging drywall, taping and mudding of walls, painting, relaying all of the LVT wood planking, the LVT in the teen center, and carpeting in the adult stacks. And as Greer mentioned, we're waiting for the flooring to arrive for the meeting rooms, the children's area, as well as the children's program room. And replacement of the VAV coils is actually expected to start tomorrow. So other tasks that still need to get done before we reopen after all of the physical work is done then is, of course, a big thorough cleaning of the building, including dusting, marpeting, carpet cleaning, cleaning all the dishes in the kitchen, dusting the shelves, and then, of course, restacking the shelves. So there is still, even after the physical work is all done, there's still a fair amount of things to get done. So even though we've focused a lot on the past 12 months on the Southwest, here are some of the things that we're looking to accomplish over the next 12 months. We're in the design phase for upgrading the public restrooms, upgrading our door software system at Ellettsville. This will bring our door software and security system kind of in line. It'll be the same system throughout all 3 of our buildings, so managing that will be much easier. Same thing, we're looking at upgrading the downtown security system, or camera system, I should say, that will fill in some of the gaps of some unmonitored areas on the exterior of the building. And again, this will bring all 3 of our buildings in line, so it'll be just kind of one platform that we can manage to do all of that kind of thing. We've got a sidewalk extension and bike rack installation plan for Ellettsville. We are, we just completed this this week, retrofitting the downtown staff entrances so that they have automatic doors. That will help with bike deliveries, people bringing their bikes in and out, and then other package deliveries from UPS, FedEx, things like that. That was actually a staff suggestion that one of our staff had, and so we have completed that. Two other things we're looking to do this year, then we're looking to help Circulation Services and Ellettsville streamline their workflow by revamping their office areas. And then, of course, assisting other departments in accomplishing their goals for our 2024 Strategic Development Plan. And part of that is going to be addressing some of the unique challenges that the downtown building faces here. That was a lot. I'm happy to answer any questions. Yeah, thanks.
2 things. One, the mowing at Southwest, is that not a city responsibility?
No.
That is?
It's ours, yeah.
Okay. And then the security guards, do they have, what kind of weapons? Or do they have some kind?
They have their brains.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I didn't know whether they had any
no.
kind of armor.
No,
Okay.
they are unarmed. So at all 3 of our buildings, we work with different police enforcement agencies. Here it's Bloomington, and Ellettsville, it's Ellettsville, and then at Southwest, it's mainly the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, although Bloomington does assist out there occasionally. And so at all 3 of those buildings, we have a very quick response time. We have found if something goes sideways and we need help, we usually have that help pretty quick. Okay, thank you.
And for all that you and your team are doing for us. Okay. We've now come to the portion of the meeting where we invite the public to come forward and address the board if you have a comment for us. Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of, I'm sorry, do we have a motion to adjourn? I'm sorry? Nobody on Zoom? No.
I move that we adjourn.
Second. Okay, all those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned.
you.